Hello and welcome to 2016, my fellow godlies. As always, I'm Vance from Starcom, and I just want to take a second to thank all of you who subscribed within the last week. In a week's time, we picked up 300 subscribers. That's phenomenal. So in the spirit of the new year, we're going to have new settings, new style, and a new way of doing things around here. As per usual, we're going to be taking a look at the most requested Warframe on my page, and that is the King of the Reptilian Empire, Chroma. Now, in order to develop a god builds for Chroma specifically, we're going to have to break down all the different types of Chroma. There's your fire, there's your ice, there's your toxic, and there's your electric. So what are they all good for? Well, electric is all status, and who needs that shit? Honestly, it's just really not all that useful. Most of the weapons that you're going to be using for status are going to experience heavy fall-off damage anyway, so that's a no-go. So what about poison? Well, poison improves your reload speed, and honestly, who needs that unless you have a really annoying weapon to reload, like Vaykor Prime or Bronco Prime? Here's looking at you, Rupiko. So that pretty much narrows it down to fire and ice, does it not? Now, ice is the typical thing that most YouTube uploaders run with, and it's a smart decision, regardless. When you utilize your arcanes, you can build an invincible ice Chroma. In fact, that's what I would recommend. I would recommend that you put Arcane Grace on your helmet. This is an arcane enhancement that provides a chance whenever the player receives damage to regenerate a percentage of their health per second for a short duration of time. While on the Sayandana, I would put Arcane Guardian. This is an arcane enhancement that provides a chance whenever the player receives damage to increase your Warframe's armor over time. Ice Chroma happens to give you an armor benefit, so this is going to provide that he stays really tanky in a fight. I mean really tanky, probably the best tank in the game. But hear me out, this isn't my main build. Are you shocked? Are you surprised? As all you Skyrim players would know best, nothing beats a traditional fire dragon. Yep, that's right, I chose to run Fire Chroma. While the Ice Chroma has the mentality to cast his Vex armor and Eternal Ward before he even enters the battle, Fire Chroma is a little bit more methodical than that. Instead of casting these powers right away, he casts them in the heat of battle. And a Fire Chroma is going to boost everyone within your vicinity's health an additional 200 points. How I use Fire Chroma is, when I'm taking a brutal beating, I will use my Eternal Ward as a last-ditch effort to keep myself in the fight. So I play the role of a healer. He's not a very good healer, but he's a healer regardless. And that gives you a little bit more utility as a Chroma. As far as what arcane combinations I'm using here, the one I put on my helmet stays the same. I'll keep it as Grace. But for my Sayandana, I'll use Arcane Avenger. This is an arcane enhancement that provides a chance whenever the player receives damage to increase the critical chance of all attacks for a short time. Now the reason why I'm running that is because the weapons that I chose to use. For one, I chose to use a Vaykor Hek. Already looking at this gun with the mod setup I have, we have a 46.9% status chance, while our critical chance is even better at 47.5%. Now keep in mind, when you have your Arcane Avenger maxed out, this is going to push the crit chance even higher for the Vaykor Hek. So as opposed to your 4 out of 6 pellets that hit, you'll probably have 6 out of 6 pellets that are crits. Keeping in mind that nice crit chance, we're going to put Contagious Spread, Chilling Grass, Prime Point Blank, Prime Ravage, Hell's Chamber, Vicious Spread, Blaze, and Blunderbuss, all on the Vaykor Hek. Vaykor Hek, on its own, is a one-hitter quitter, but when paired in conjunction with the Arcane Avenger, it's really going to scale into in-game content rather nicely. Another weapon I'm using for its vast amount of crits is War. Yeah, I caved, and I bought the Stalker bundle. You know, after realizing that War was going to be incredibly impossible to farm off Stalker, seeing as how the very few times that he's attacked me, 3 times precisely since update 18, he's only dropped Dread. Now, who wants to get rid of Broken War? Broken War is amazing. I intend to keep it. So keeping that in mind, I would have had to wait until Stalker first dropped War, then dropped another blueprint for Broken War. Yeah, that'll take a good 15 years. So I caved, and I bought the pack, even though the only thing I wanted out of it was War. One thing that's going to surprise you about this build is I'm not using Temple Royale. I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, the world's coming to an end. Vance is not using a rare mod. Well, in this particular case, with War, there's a combination with Cleaving Whirlwind that does a tremendous amount of AoE damage. You have the spinning attack that does a 360 range of attack in AoE, and I know that Temple Royale pretty much does the same thing, but it doesn't do it as fast. Because the thing about War is it crits pretty often, which makes it a really good candidate for Berserker and Fury, so you get to spinning a lot quicker than what you would with Temple Royale using this particular combo. We're also going to build for crits, so we're going to utilize the True Steel and the Organ Shatter. Now, I had someone in my comments arguing with me about the effectiveness of Shattering Impact. But what you people need to realize is that Corrosive with 2 mods will do what Shattering Impact will do with 1 mod. Now, the percentage benefit that you get from Shattering Impact isn't quite as good as Corrosive, admittedly, but for weapons that deal in impact, like Jet Tag or War, you can put them in conjunction with Collision Force and Primed Heavy Trauma. These impact mods are going to make you do a lot of impact damage, and on top of that, it's going to stack really nicely with Shattering Impact. When I playtested this combination against level 90 Heavy Grineer, I was amazed at the results. Collectively over time, the more you hit and the more damage that you do, the more damage you're going to do. This is going to scale very well. But like all good things that must come to an end, the damage that War is going to do overall is going to get to a point where you're taking too much damage trying to put it out. So you're going to resort to your Vaykor Hek. And in those hot instances where your health gets depleted, for my secondary I chose to run Furis. To be honest with you, I recently just discovered Furis because my YouTube commenters were telling me that I should use this on my Avara build instead of my Tyl Regor. And to my surprise, it works really nicely. Now, is it just me? Or was I noticing that Winds of Purity was making my damage go through the roof on Furis? It seemed that way to me. It seemed like it was draining a lot more life than what it would normally do on its own. But because it does so much damage, I chose to run Hornet Strike, Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent, and my Viral combination. The reason why I'm doing Viral is because I want to take off as much HP off of their health as humanly possible. Now the reason why I'm running Viral is because the Winds of Purity is going to make Furis behave like a Life Strike. So the more damage we do into their health, the more health we're going to get back. So that's why Viral is pretty necessary. With my first loadout, I'm using Suppress, primarily because I also use this weapon on my Avara now. If you were to switch anything up a bit, instead of using Suppress, not caring about the sound, you might want to run with Stunning Speed. This is going to help your Viral proc, and it's also going to improve that reload, keeping you in the fight a little bit longer. Now this is going to come to a major surprise for you, especially you guys that run Ice Chroma. Some of you may be thinking, wow, this is one of the worst weapons in the game, why would you use this? On the contrary, it's not one of the worst weapons in the game. It's actually one of the best. Because the mentality of your Ice Chroma is to get in there and jack the enemy in the jaw, you're going to want to run Bronco Prime because they're pretty much handheld shotguns, and there's nothing that beats that. When playtesting, I found that the Bronco Prime was the second most damaging weapon in my loadout for Chroma. The more you get damaged with Elemental Ward, the more damage you're going to put out with these things, and if you're in close range proximity of the enemy you're shooting at, you're going to devastate them. The amount of seconds it took me to take down one heavy Grineer was absurd. Regardless of your opinion for Bronco Prime, whether you think it's shit, whether you think it's great, it has my seal of approval. These things are genius. There's only one other factor that we have yet to cover in this build, and that's our companion. I chose to run Helios, and the reason why I did that is because of the Detect Vulnerability. As far as the other mods go, they don't really matter, but Detect Vulnerability is going to highlight vulnerable points on enemy bodies. This is going to work incredibly well with your Fire Chroma's Arcane Avenger composition. It's going to highlight those nasty points where you can really crank out some crit damage. So let's do the math here for a second. Detect Vulnerability plus Arcane Avenger plus Vaykor Hek equals what exactly? Sheer butthole devastation, that's what. So is Chroma suited to be the be-all, end-all tank? After hours and hours and hours of playtesting because you demanded it, I found this to be true. I found it to be even more so true with the Fire Chroma, especially if you want to play more tactical like I like to do. I don't want to be a Warframe that I can just beat everything easily with. With Ice Chroma, using the invincible build that everybody else uses, it makes things a tad bit boring. So if you mix it up with Fire Chroma, losing your health, utilizing more damage the more that you get hurt, choosing the right time to replenish your health, bumping up allies' health, and being suited for a variety of situations as opposed to just the one, it was superior in my opinion. I remember a point in time where I was on the verge of selling Chroma. After this god build, I think I'll be hanging on to him for a bit longer. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. The details for our recruitment is, as always, in the description below. If you haven't already, please join the Facebook discussion and help me resolve this tie between Frost and Zephyr. Until next time, the fuck?
What?
What the fuck is this? Wait. Well, okay then.
Bypass complete.
Wow.
You may proceed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally normal. That's totally a thing. What is this? What is this?
Look at him, he's moving around while in that T-pose.
Oh, goddammit, he fixed himself. DE, please patch now. You can't patch soon enough.
Bypass complete.
Don't be flattered by the size of my Chroma's penis.